It'd be nice if I was in tune. Back up a little bit now. A little flat. Always better to be a little flat than a little sharp. There we go. I want this window and this window. Oh, we have some people there. Nobody chatting though. Where's everybody? Usually have a pretty chatty group. So we're going to be doing the G shape. So I moved it up 2 frets to A. Hey, there you are, Sam. I moved it up, so we're playing in a G shape in the key of A. It's an A chord. Hey, Bruce. Oh, people starting to show up. Is there a big lag or something? Hey, Jack. Oh, yeah. I got nothing but time. Paste. Hey, Bob. Okay, so it'll be pinned. Oh, there it is. There's the Discord link where all of these, in fact, I'm going to drag Holly, I'm going to drag them all. Thank you for doing that, creating that PDF. I could totally do that, but here it is. Tom's lesson in PDF. That's the tab on the Discord where you can get all of the PDFs I create. Or PDFs, or in this case, these are screen caps. So, and you can organize them any way you want. Just making sure I got. Or Holly has been organizing them and putting a PDF up there so you can have it all on one page. If you don't know how to do that yourself. So there's 4 pinks, but there's really only 3 things. But I fingered the Diatonic scale, the Major Diatonic, 2 different ways. Hey, Lena's here. Actually live for a change. Louisiana Elevators, good to see you again. if you didn't know that we were on a new series, we've been doing, let's see, this is number 6, I think. CAGED method, intro to CAGED method. We talked about this before. In fact, I think it was the first series we did when I started doing the live stream back at the beginning of the, 15 days to flatten the curve. The longest 15 days in history. That's probably what one of the books will be called in 10 years that are written about all of this. But if we go back 6 weeks, let's see. This is the first one. So we've done 5 lessons so far. The first lesson we talked about the 5 shapes that make up the CAGED method. Okay, so this is going to be review for almost all of you. But it's C, A, G, E, D, and I had you play it with each one of those chords. I fingered them with 3 fingers each. I had you play each one of those with these 3 fingers. And then I had you play them with these 3 fingers, which was impractical, difficult, and frustrating, and made you curse my name, and you hated me, and you stopped watching my channel, and you unsubscribed. All of those things. Okay? But the reason we did that was so that we could take our God-given capo right here, our first finger, and cavemen had capos long before they had guitars. But this way we can take any one of those shapes, and now we can turn them into 12 chords and 12 shapes. So you're not just learning 5 shapes; you're learning technically 60 chords. And that's why I wrote this right here. That's just E and F are half steps. Everything's whole steps. Flat goes down a fret. Sharp goes up a fret. That was so you could make. That was help you learn the strings, the notes on the strings. If you start, this is E. E F is a half step. There's F. So if this is an E chord, then this is an F chord. F to G is a whole step. So boom, we go up 2 frets, and then we make the E form. Same thing if we're on G and we go up to A, whole step. And that's what we're going to do. This is the shape we're going to do today. Okay. Then what I did was I showed you diagrams. I diagrammed out the neck, starting on each of the shapes to show you how they're all connected to each other. And they always connect in that order, C, A, G, E, D. So if you see the first shape in the upper left-hand corner, it's C, A, G, E, D. See those 5 shapes? The next one is A, and you're like, okay, well, where are we going to go there? Well, you're going to go to G, and you're going to go to E and D and C again. And then the same thing with when you start on G, you go to E and D. So you're always doing the chord shapes in that order, no matter which one you start on. And this is to help you visualize the neck for rhythm purposes and for soloing and improvising and finding scales and memorizing shapes and scales and pentatonic scales and diatonic scales and all that stuff. It really I don't want to say it simplifies the fretboard, but it definitely does lay out some patterns on it, which a lot of us, that really helps. Being able to kind of, I wouldn't say it's necessarily cracking the code. There's always players that are like, oh, just show me that thing that cracked the code for you. And I'm like, really? That thing that cracked the code for me was that key that I switched. It was a key I turned. And it was practice 8 hours a day. That was what changed. Okay, so then we started with the C shape, because it's first shape in the word CAGED. And we moved it up 2 frets in this case, and we made it a D chord. And then I showed you the pentatonic scale, and I showed you the diatonic scale wrapped around that. So it's fairly easy to start. When the pentatonic scale, you already know half the notes. From just a major triad. In fact, 3/5 of the pentatonic scale is 5 notes. Here, I'll use this hand so you can see. 5. Pentatonic scale is 5 notes, and a triad is 3 notes. So if you know the triad, you already know 3/5 of the note in the pentatonic scale. So, and you're 3/7 of the way to the diatonic scale. I'm enjoying resting my chin on my guitar. Okay, then last week we did this. We did the A shape, and we moved it up 3 frets to get the C major. That's a C major chord there. And you didn't necessarily need to be able to play that, but you see how by knowing that, you know a lot of the major pentatonic. And you know much of the major diatonic as well. So this week we're going to do the A. It's going to be an A chord, but it's a G form, G shape. And again, this is not a chord you necessarily need to be able to play. I don't know that I ever use this thing. Okay, it's just not that much fun, you know. I'd probably more likely go to that or that if I were going to do a bar chord for up here, like if I needed C sharp. My hands is going to get tired. So, you know, you don't want tired hands when you're trying to play a 5-hour set of music, right? First song, right off the bat, you're playing it. Like, you know, it's like, and your wrist is throbbing, and you're like, okay, I'm done. Dude, we have 87 more songs to play. I'm like, oh. So, yeah, Bruce, can you believe it? How long ago that was? Oh my gosh. Laborious. Let's see. So anyway, so this is where we're going to start up. Let me say some shout outs. See who's here. I see a new name. Let's see. Ryan. Great to see you. This is boring, sir. Okay, well, that's fine. Go elsewhere. Hill greetings from Essex. Oh, nice. Greetings, Essex. Wow. I bet you sound smart even when you're not. You know, Americans always think British people sound brilliant no matter what. Yeah, Joy. Yeah, trust me. When I practiced 8 hours a day, I was 15. That's when I started. But yes, a professional guitarist is largely unemployed. So even as an adult, I had 8 hours a day to practice. I may have to work it in different ways, but you know, I've counseled some people that want to do music for a living, but they aren't doing music for a living. They're doing another job, and because they kind of, you know, they got to pay the bills. I tell them, you know, look, you're going to have to invest a lot of time in it. You might have to have 2 40-hour-a-week jobs. You're going to have your regular job that pays the bills, and then you're going to have to treat your music career as another job, even if it's not making money, but you pursue that. Whether it's composing, you want to be a game composer, you want to be a jingle composer for commercials, whether you want to be a pop songwriter, whether you want to be a session guitar player or a touring guitar player or a bass player or whatever, you're gonna do what you can to try to launch that career while you're still paying the bills. It's very difficult. But for me, I lived way below my means, so I was able to, you know, when I first was a musician, I was playing guitar and in a couple bands, and teaching guitar lessons, not really doing sessions, but I was living at home, so I had zero expenses. When I moved to California, I had saved up money, and even then my rent was super cheap because I was living in a house with a bunch of guys, and I was still teaching lessons. I started trying to get students together, started to do some session work, things like that. Very, very, very slow build. And then I got married, and where you need to have income, well, my wife kind of supported us for 10 years. For 10 years, she was the one kind of paying the bills, and she believed in me a lot of times more than I believed in myself. Ultimately, it paid off. But yeah, it's really hard to build that career in the arts in particular. There's really no school that teaches you what you need to know. It's funny because I always want to do a series. I should do a series on every time I got to write these things down, but every time I do a session and I have to do some crazy thing, and I go, here's something they would never have taught you in college that I actually needed to know. There's just certain things that you just can't learn in school. And so, and then, you know, if I go to engineering school and become an engineer or study engineering, get a degree, I'm going to be an engineer. If I go to med school and get a degree in medicine, I'm going to be a doctor. If I go to law school, well, I'm pretty much going to be a lawyer. You go to music school, you're not going to be a musician. To be a musician, somebody has to hire you. So there's no guarantees in that business. So it's very difficult. Anyway, that's a shot. That's kind of a sideline. Okay, let me drag this other. And like I said, in the Discord are all of these diagrams from the past. All of these are in Discord. Okay. We did a whole bunch of stuff on reading music. All of these PDFs are up there for free. Just download them. It doesn't cost anything to join Discord. Holly and Bruce and Dennis are all there. They're my moderators. They're there regularly. So if you have any questions, you can ask them on Discord. A lot of times the discussions that we have here will continue there, especially if you're talking amongst yourselves and you got something going on. I end the live stream. Where do you go? You go over to the Discord. So I'm pointing over to my other screen here. Let me see. So I'm going to drag the pentatonic scale over. Close this. All right. Here's, I think, the pentatonic. Yep. Okay. And so we're going to fill in some notes, and we're going to have a scale that lays right on top of this. Dang it. I'm going to have to make it a little smaller. Okay. So this is the major pentatonic scale. And you can see the R's are the roots of the scale. So if you start on those notes, you would, if we start there and start there, we'll end up with a major pentatonic scale. If you go down to the F sharp and start there, that's F sharp minor pentatonic, which is a very common scale. A lot of times this is the first shape when you're learning like rock scales or pentatonic scales. This is the first shape you always learn. Usually I would teach it maybe here in A. And if you play this minor pentatonic, which is just this one moved up 3 frets, if you play that over A, it has a kind of a pseudo blues sound because you're playing a C, which is the flat third, over a C sharp, which is the third of the A chord. Don't worry. There won't be a quiz on this, okay? There will not be a quiz on this. You can buy this merchandise if you want to wear it. Okay, I don't recommend in the morning having coffee with your loved one and then having a serious conversation with this mug in your hand, because you'll say, remember what we talked about? You said there wasn't going to be a quiz on this. So anyway, so don't do that. But anyway, I don't know. I just thought that was that's my catchphrase. There won't be a quiz on this. Okay. But that's often, like I said, that's often the first pentatonic scale anyone learns. Okay. Well, if you'll notice this pentatonic scale, we have half of the notes are right here at the 2nd fret. So if you just lay your first finger across, you can put your 2nd finger and 3rd finger and 4th finger on top of it. It makes it easier. You just play those notes. That's half of the notes in the pentatonic scale. Hey, Canadian. Oh, you're Waterman on your usual. Okay, good to see you. Kathy Short. Hey, what's going on? Holly loves seeing another lady on the chat. Catherine's not here yet, is she? But Lena's here. I'm popular with the ladies. I'm so not. All right. So, like I said, this scale is fairly easy to memorize because you got half the notes just by doing that. Okay. Let's go ahead and start on that note. Okay, but realize that technically that's the root, but it's irrelevant because this note is good in the key too. I had a pad, an A major pad. I'll go ahead and play that. Hopefully it's not overwhelming my guitar. But that's just an A major triad, so it's that chord or this chord, basically. On a keyboard, I've got it looped so that I have something to kind of solo over, so I can maybe show you context or usages, usages. Can't talk this morning. Okay, so start on the 2nd fret with your 1st finger, bottom right there, index finger, good strong finger, and then reach out with your pinky if you can, and get that 5th fret. Okay, some of you might have trouble with that. Some people play it with the 3rd finger, but we're gonna be academic here and play it with the pinky for now. Okay. And then the next string, again, 2nd fret, 1st finger. Then we're going to use our 3rd finger on the 4th fret. We do have some chicken power going. And then 1st finger. And then 3rd finger again, 4th fret. And then the same thing, 1, 3. So 1st finger, 3rd finger on the 2nd and 4th fret. A little confusing, but sorry about that. Now we're going to go to 2nd fret on the 2nd string with the 1st finger, and then back with the pinky. Okay, all I'm doing is playing down that shape, and we're on the 5th fret with the pinky here, and then we're going to go. Okay, Same thing, the same shape. 2nd fret and 5th fret with the 1st finger and 4th finger. So let's do that. Okay, so we're gonna go descending from this A, this root note of the chord, to this root note. So we have A, and then F sharp, and then E. No quiz on these note names, but I'm just saying them so that maybe you'll pick them up, because I'd love for you to learn your fretboard and the names of the notes. So there's C sharp, and here's B. Same as when you tune the open B string, there's that B note, and then to A. Again, starting on the top note, A up here, the F sharp, then same thing on the next string, 5, 2, and that's A, E and C sharp, and then we have B, A. And you could do little like mathematical exercises where you do groups of 3. Okay, you see that? I went down 3 notes. Started on the top note, went down 3. That's a grouping of 3, and I go to the second from the top note, and I go down 3 notes from that one. And then I go to the third from the top note, and I go down 3 notes from that. Now these are little exercises to kind of get your fingers. I should talk about this sometime. Very, very common thing to do is to create groupings. To help you learn the, it's a little boring just to play the pentatonic scale like this. So the groupings of 3 sound a little bit more musical, a little bit more interesting. But if you play them too long like that, if you do too big a phrase with the groupings of 3, it's going to sound like an exercise, not musical. Groupings of 4 would be this: pinky, start on your pinky, and then the second finger, and then pinky again, and then second fret. First finger. You know what I meant. So play that. Now here, groupings of 4 are a little bit more difficult if we go in order. The next note is on the same fret. See that? I have to lay down my first finger to get the next note right there. So just play that much. Go 5th fret, 2nd fret, 5th fret, 2nd fret, 2nd fret. Okay? That pad, Catherine's like, hey, can you just do an MP3 of that pad? And I could mess it up, put a B flat on top of it. Why am I always Catherine's little brother? Catherine, did you have little brothers? Am I totally modeling that right now? I think Catherine is the one that watches this live stream on her giant 800-inch TV. So that's why I do this. So, but if you check out this, and then you go to that note, and then you go down 4. So then we go 2nd fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 5th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret. And you can play that little snippet there. It's nice. I like that by itself. That would be those 2 together. And you can see it's a little difficult because you've got groupings of 4 are always kind of difficult when you're doing pentatonic scales because you're alternating between laying down fingers. Watch this. I'm going to go ahead and play it all the way to the bottom so you can see what's happening. I'll go slow. And so there's the first 4. And then to get the next 4 started, I got to lay down my first finger and do that. And here I'm golden. I just got to go to pinky. And then I got to lay down my first finger again. And now I got to lay down my 3rd finger. And then I got to lay down my first finger. And then lay down my... But you can create these patterns. I used to, sit in study hall and I would make up patterns. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe... Let's see. Things like that. But the groupings of 5 are really fun. Oh yeah, no, I know. I'm going to add a scale there in a second. So yeah, I didn't want to delete that. So I'll put that scale there now so you can start working on it. You want to get ahead. And I have two fingerings for this one. Okay, so there's the major diatonic. Hopefully less confusion. Okay, now, yeah, big brothers are kind of a pain too. I was both. I have a sister 4 years older and a sister 4 years younger. So I was a pest to both of my sisters. Still am. I love groupings of 5. Groupings of 5 sound more random than groupings of 4 because I'm playing them as 16th notes, and so you've got, 16th notes are in groupings of 4, and yet I'm playing 5 notes, so everything gets offset by a 16th, and so it ends up sounding more random, if you know what I mean. But I'll show you in slow motion kind of what I'm doing. I'm going like, and all of this motion is happening between every note. I'm such a jerk. Okay, so there's a grouping of 5, right? And then the nice thing about it, if I go down to the next note, I'm right there. I don't have to lay down my finger, okay? And Eric Johnson does groupings of 5s a lot. If you like Eric Johnson's playing, it's worth trying to get groupings of 5 down. There's the next one. So I'm starting on the second note from the top in the scale. I'm talking about the major pentatonic down here. Right here. Can't point to it, that one. Okay, and that would not be one right after the other, so that would be more like I'm doing one. That doesn't sound as random. But when I string them all together, and it makes this very simple pentatonic scale sound like a much longer scale. The other groupings of 5 I like to do is actually more common for me is to go just start on these notes. Okay, so I'm instead of doing starting the descending 5s on each individual note, I'm just going down this side, like that. That's very similar to something Eric Johnson would do. Now the other thing, you could do groupings of 6. So you can do groupings of 7, whatever. But again, the idea is to just come up with different variations, ascending groupings of 3. To really, really get to the point where you know the scale so well you can do it inside, outside, backwards, forwards, all that kind of thing. And particularly this scale, because this is, like, again, one of the most commonly used scales for blues and for rock and jazz and just, it doesn't even, bluegrass, it doesn't matter. It's so common. So to be able to be fluid with this, like I said, I recently saw, let me get rid of that chord. Okay. I recently saw Pat Metheny, and I was amazed at how much, in fact, now I need that chord again. But I was amazed at how much he used pentatonic scales in his playing, and in particular, even that one. But I could take that pentatonic scale and play it in different places. I've got this A major chord going. So if I play that pentatonic, that's about as inside, and by inside I mean it's about as close to what you're hearing the triad as any of the scales. I've got, because there are no open strings, I can move this. I can put this in 12 different places. So you learn one scale, one of these scales, you've learned 12 scales. I don't have 12 fingers, but here you go. There's most of the 12. Okay, you've learned 12 scales. And there's B flat. That doesn't really work over it, but B major has a kind of otherworldly sound to it. If I occasionally allude to notes in the triad, I mean, I have one note, there's a C sharp in this one, so I do have one of the notes, but if I go to that E or I go to that A, I can take this scale, go up 2 frets, and I create this almost really jazzy sound. And again, there will not be a quiz on this, so everybody take a sip. That's one of our drinking game rules. If I say there won't be a quiz on it, everybody gets to take a drink. If anyone's doing hard liquor, well, we got a lot of rules. One of them is if I touch my face, because that was a COVID no-no. Don't touch your face. So every time I touched my face, we had to take a drink. But I'm going to tell you the value of the note compared to the chord. So the chord is an A triad. A, C sharp, E, A major triad. Okay, so it's the first chord. Oh no, that's not the first chord in Help. Help is G. Sorry, I'm thinking Ticket to Ride. Okay, so first chord in Ticket to Ride. If I play that pentatonic scale up 2 frets from there, I end up with a really weird kind of jazzy, almost classical, like you're like doing some kind of modern ballet thing or something. But that's the major 7th, that's the 9th, that's the 3rd, that's the sharp 4, there's a 6th, major 7th, 9th, 3rd, sharp 4, 6th, major 7th, 9th. Now if I go up 1 more fret, so now I'm technically playing, this was A major pentatonic, that was B major pentatonic, because that's a B note. This is a C major pentatonic. Everything kind of works except that C note rubs against the C sharp in the chord. Well, that's what blues is. Now I might add, it's hard to play that without adding the 3rd every now and then or some blues notes. But we talked about the blues scale, we talked about all that. But anyway, we can, if I move it up to here, to D, I've got 2 of the notes of the triad in there. I got that D and that rubs. It wants to go to, but a lot of times I'll do that. I'll go, because it sounds so beautiful to resolve that D down to that C sharp. But I'm amazed at how all the pentatonic scales, they all have a different sound over that triad. I think Herbie Hancock years ago did a book on pentatonic scales, because they're such a great tool for playing fast or learning the fretboard, and particularly in the guitar. Pentatonic scales are he did a series of books where he went through all 12 pentatonics and said, this is the most in, or this is the closest to the harmony, and this is the furthest away from it. And I think probably one of the furthest away would be that 1 fret. It's ironic, you're just 1 fret away, and sonically none of those notes really work. But in jazz context, you can almost always make them work. Especially if we're talking about more of a dominant 7, like an A chord sound. I could make that would be a flat 9, that would be a sharp 9. So I could always make, in jazz you can make any note work. You can justify it. We even did it with bluegrass. Remember when we were doing bluegrass? I said, well, I wonder if we can justify the sharp 6, the sharp 5. Okay, we ended up justifying just about any note, all notes. So okay. So anyway, that's the introduction into that pentatonic scale. And so again, we've learned this is our 3rd shape. We're on the A shape we're on the G shape. We did A shape last week. Here's the C shape. And see how I move the C shape up 2 frets, so it's in the D, so it's a D chord. I move the A shape up 3 frets, so we had everything was C bass. So there's a C major pentatonic scale, and there's a C major diatonic scale, a C major scale. Do, re, mi. And so same thing with this. We're basically took the G shape up 2 frets, and we're now in the key of A, playing over A chord. Let's see. Tom once mentioned the Segovia scales. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, it's a good question, Swift. And Lena, you were at, let's see, Lena, anyone recommend a book just for warm up exercises? Um, Segovia Scale. That's a toughie. Segovia Scale. That is just 24 different scales, and it's every major and minor. So every major scale and every melodic minor scale, all 12 keys, fingered the most efficient way on the classical guitar. It's Andre Segovia did it, and to the fullest extent. So, like for example, the D major scale started here because the lowest note there is E, so we can't start on the E or anything lower than that. So this is the lowest note, and the highest note is here because there's no D up here. So the D major scale is identical to the C sharp as far as execution goes, and the same with the C. So sometimes in the Segovia scale, there's some of the same. As far as exercises, yeah, there are probably a bunch of books out there. Hey Steve, there are probably a bunch of books out there, and there's videos. I mean, I've got a lot of videos out there. It depends on what what you want to work on. I've got some exercise videos. Remember my finger independence exercise, right? The one I hate. Okay, then you do the middle two. And Lena, we used to start with a warm up. And then what's next? Let's see, these two. And then these two. And then the outside two. And I can even make this harder. A cellist showed me this trick. Okay, instead of doing the two fingers like this and then moving these two, which is one of the hardest ones right here, you go ahead and separate it. So you put like this finger on that string and do the middle four strings. Oh man, that hurts so much. And then you separate them the other way and do it again. And what that does is build up independence. Independence between the fingers, because they oftentimes don't want to do what you tell them to do. But yeah, that's a painful one. And then what we would do, remember we would warm up on this, our pinky exercise. We started out with these. So again, exercise, depends on what you want to practice. I like melodic exercises. I mean, I like to try to, like I said, with these pentatonic scales, try doing groups of three. Because that's something you can actually use in music. Whereas this, while that will give you maybe some, that might give you some dexterity when it comes to playing. Whatever, some dexterity. And it's a good thing. And the reason this lesson, the 1-4-2-4 or 1-4-3-4-2-4-3-4 lesson or exercise exists is to strengthen your pinky, because your pinky on your left hand is playing 50% of the notes. So that's a really good one. Again, the pattern is 1-4-3-4-2-4-3-4. So you can do that on any sort of 1-4-3-4-2-4-3-4. Okay. And then you were asking me about the difference between the blues. I'm not sure what you're thinking when you say the difference between country blues scale versus typical blues or typical major pentatonic. Okay, but if I were to play the A major pentatonic, which is actually the next shape we're going to do. You could figure it a couple different ways, but if I were to play A major pentatonic, then that would be A, B, C sharp, D. I'm sorry, A, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, A, B. Okay? Good pentatonic. That's major pentatonic. And that works great. Now, the one thing I just did there, without even thinking about it, was I added that flat third. And I kind of did it as a slide from the flat third to the third. Right? So that's one way you can adapt that major pentatonic and add one note and make it sound bluesier. But if I wanted to play a pure blues scale, I could still play A minor pentatonic instead of a major pentatonic over that A chord, and that's going to give you a kind of a country blues. I just would say blues sound. I wouldn't specify country or any specific genre, but just a blues kind of scale sound. I mean, if you really want to add another note to it, you can add that flat 5. And you can totally superimpose in between the two. George Benson was phenomenal at that. If you know, remember the song? You probably don't. Was it? Okay, he would do this thing where he'd be playing in major, and all of a sudden he'd go to the blues scale, the minor scale. So there's a he's all happy major, and then all of a sudden he goes. You go to the blues scale. It's like he was masterful at weaving back and forth between major scales and minor blues scales, all within the same chord progression. Happy 1 6 4 5 progression. He would just fall into it so easily and make it sound so natural. And it would always sound like, wait, what did he just do? Because you're like, I memorized the D major scale, but those notes aren't in there. So, anyway, George Benson was one of my favorite guitar players as a kid. And got me really into, he kind of was my gateway drug into jazz, so to speak. So, yep, breezing, exactly. Very good, Holly. Yeah, Gary, I mean, to be honest, George Benson doesn't know theory. He doesn't know theory. He just does it. A lot of times theory is the tool of the people trying to figure out what the people who don't know theory are doing. Okay? Did the Beatles know theory? Wow, that, I've seen that question on YouTube, and people, did they know what they were doing? Yeah, they knew what they were doing. Could they told you that they're playing the 6th chord or whatever? Probably not. They would have said, hey, we'll play the B minor chord there. Oh, and by the way, we're going to play A minor, the minor 5 chord. We're going to play the A minor 5 chord here. But they wouldn't say minor 5 chord. They'd just play A minor, because it sounds cool. But there are musicians, that do know music and everything. Hey, Sadie, what's going on? Yeah. He's a super nice guy. I've got some friends that play with him, and they really like working with him. I've never met him. I mean, I would have loved him. Well, he's still alive. I still could meet him. I think he lives in Hawaii, though, doesn't he? Yeah, you can always practice chromatic scales. That's right. In fact, that's something that George Benson would use a lot. Speaking of George Benson, like if you say he's playing over in a B minor chord, he might. Django Reinhardt would do it too, but he would do it with one finger on one string. But he could make it work, sound like you were actually going like that, yeah. Yeah, but you know, when you're doing like a chromatic scale, the key is to find a sweet note to start on and a sweet note to end on. Okay, so like for example, if I'm on over A minor. Sorry, we totally squirrel. Look, there's a squirrel right here on my guitar. There's the squirrel right there. Got an A minor chord, so you can play it. Start on a B, which is a sweet note over that A minor. Right? Ooh, listen to that. Right, and then you know. The chromatic scale is about as close as a glissando. Like if you were to play a violin and just go like that, it's as close to a glissando as a guitar player can get. So as long as you play it kind of as a flurry, let's see, what do I want to do? I want maybe end on the major seventh there, end on a G sharp. So you know you want to have before you play like a flurry on a chromatic scale. And this is advanced guitar stuff, but you want to kind of figure out what you're starting and what your ending note. Doesn't matter when. It doesn't have to be on the beat. It could be any. You basically kind of implied this chord, which is freaking gorgeous, right? And so that's the thing with chromatics, but it's a great, chromatic scale is great for just kind of giving every finger a chance, right? And then on the guitar, if you're descending, you have to move up a fret with every string, except when you're going from the second to the third string. You just stay on the same fret, which makes it a little bit hesitation there oftentimes because and then picking it wise, I'm starting with an upstroke because I'm descending. I would definitely start with an upstroke. That would get me going in the right direction. Okay, let's get back to our lesson at hand, so to speak. And we're going to do the diatonic scale that's built around, and you can see the green notes in that major diatonic scale. The green notes are just the same notes I had in the triad there, the G form, moved up, we're on the G form, okay? And the major pentatonic. Yeah, I agree, John. I think that's pretty much what they did. I think to this day, Paul would say he probably doesn't know much about music theory. I've heard him discuss it. In fact, I watched the Rick Rubin thing, and I'm sure he talked about it there. And I know Rick Rubin doesn't know a lot about music theory. Again, music theory is often something that's done to analyze. Like Charlie Parker. I love Charlie Parker. I've seen entire books devoted to analyzing every note that Charlie Parker played. But Charlie Parker didn't think that way. He just played. He just practiced scales. He went out on the Brooklyn Bridge all night long, and so he wouldn't disturb his neighbors. And he would just practice his scales up and down. And you know, he just, when he got into the jams, he was like, oh, try this. Oh, I'll try that. I'll try this. Oh, here's a nice way to play through this change. So often in jazz back then, too, the jazz songs of the day were taking standard chord progressions from standards. One of the most common was called rhythm changes. And it's from the song I Got Rhythm. So the rhythm changes were used on hundreds and hundreds of jazz tunes. So they really were playing over the same chord progression. So in a lot of ways, it was just like, okay, let's do this song again, but with a different front end, and then we'll all solo over it. So a lot of times they were kind of just trying to find new ways to weave through familiar chord progressions. And I think rhythm changes has the cycle of fifths in the middle. And then it would go 5 of the 5 of the 5 to 5 of the 5 of the 5 to the 5 of the 5 to the 5. And go back to the so, you know, I got fast changes. And so that he would just have all these scales ready to go. for every chord progression. But okay, so this scale, let's go ahead and start with the pinky on the 5th fret of the bottom string. Okay, so because that way I want you to do the do re mi scale. We just know that these two notes are in the key, and if you need to go lower than the root note when you're soloing or improvising or whatever, then you've got these two notes. Okay, but let's start with this note. So there's our A, and then we're going to go to B. So it's A, B, C, D, or I'm sorry, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Remember do, re, mi. Right? Thank you, Lena. God bless you. I hope you learned something for that $10. Okay, so here we go. Do, do, do. Sing along. I always recommend that. I always recommend that you sing along with your playing. And I'll tell you why. Remind me to say why at the end here. We've talked about it before, but I'll say it again because I think it's a really valuable lesson. Okay. First finger on the 2nd fret, there's the B. And then 3rd finger on the C sharp at the 4th fret there. Okay, and then to D here on the pinky. Okay, let's play that much of the scale again. Start down here on the bottom string with pinky. Okay, so we're going to go 5th fret, 2nd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret. And keep in mind, this is movable. That was the first 4 notes. Tetrachord. No, don't worry about that. That's the tetrachord. But remember tetrachords? We talked about tetrachords. That's the first 4 notes of the A major. Well, if I go up a fret, there's the first 4 notes of B flat, first 4 notes of B, totally movable. So when you finish this, you've learned 12 scales, not 1. Okay. Now we go there to the E, and I got 2 different ways to finger this. Hold on, let me grab that other way. One kind of allows us to stay in the same position, which is not that one. It's this one, and the other. So I'll leave it up to you which one you want to do. It's totally up to you. When I was a kid, I learned this first one where I shifted positions. So I'm probably more likely to do that one. But this one kind of resembles a little bit of a 3-per, which is the 3 notes per scale, which they all are. I mean, both of these kind of do. The reason they're not 3-pers is because both of them have a section where there's only 2 notes on the string. But you can get that G sharp out there. That might be tough, but you can move your hand to it. Technically you're shifting position, or you can reach for it. Okay, so we have the E, 2nd fret with the 1st finger here, 4th fret with the 3rd finger, and then reach out there. Or we can shift down to the 1st fret and grab that 1st finger. Hey, Pepper, what's going on? First finger, you get that, and then 2nd finger, and there's our octave, okay? It's G sharp to A, okay? So we start again here, and then, again, all the work we're putting into this scale can be multiplied by 12. I love that. It's like the parable of the talents. We're going to multiply our talent. Descend that. And then shift back up, 3rd finger. First, and then pinky, 3rd finger, 1st finger, and then bottom, like that. Okay, again. 1st finger on B, C sharp, saying the letter names D, E, F sharp, in the hopes that you'll start to learn some of these notes on your fretboard. G sharp, A. Backwards, G sharp. Reach out to the F sharp with the pinky. No, I'm sorry. We're going to go with the 3rd finger. Duh. 1st finger. Pinky. Although I might use my pinky there in transition. Yeah, I'm descending. See what I did there? I actually used the pinky and then I did the shift. See that? So you can do this 2 different ways. Okay? You can do the shift right here, okay? But the problem with that is it means you can't really have the notes run into each other. Like there's going to be a slight pause when you take your first finger off and move positions, okay? But if I grab this note with my pinky, and then while that note is ringing out, I move my first finger up, now I'm in second position again, okay? So this is first position because my first finger is playing the first fret. But the bulk of this scale is in second position because the first finger is assigned the second fret. Right? See, and when I do that, I can let that note ring and grab this. So I think I would probably descending almost always grab that F sharp with the pinky. Just for continuity. Okay, so we're there. We go to B. Okay, Kelly. Oh, Kelly, go to the Discord and join the Discord. Try to use your name 3214 so that we know who you are. Otherwise, and that, we don't. It's not that we don't trust you, but you can have multiple handles at Discord. So, but there's a join link up there. Join the group, and Holly has been putting together some great PDFs of these lessons, and I'm uploading all of the. Yeah, Sadie, you can go back. Just here's the first lesson. It should look like this. But yeah, in fact, all of these PDFs are in, and these are screen caps. They're all in the Tom's Lesson PDFs tab at our Discord group. And there's a million tabs there now. Followers with guitars. Oh, hey, we got a new follower with a guitar. Let's see who's up there. Oh, we're talking a lot of gear shop talk too, so people want to know like what guitar to get and things like that. Bruce is making me a cigar box guitar, so he's been posting pictures up there of that. Guitar builds DIY. So there's others that are building guitars up there too. So if you're interested in that, it's kind of become, it's a great community. I mean, there's over 400 people on it, but it's super kind. Everybody's cool. Pretty much stay on point. No politics, no religion, nothing like that. I mean, I'm going to say God bless you. That's going to be for the most part. I may talk about playing at church and stuff like that, but because a lot of the guitar players here are playing worship bands. But playing in a worship band is kind of like playing in U2. You're basically doing all edge licks, so and Coldplay and things like that. So it's you might as well be talking about playing in a pop band or a rock band or something. So, but today we're on, this is the 5th lesson. So there was the first lesson. Here's the 2nd lesson where I laid them all out. This may be something, who am I talking to? Kelly 3214. This would be something you would definitely, I think, I know Holly did a PDF of all of those. And that would be cool. If you have a color printer, you can print it up and you can put it on, you can start to study this. But this, the CAGED method's a great way to visualize the neck. I still do it that way. When I'm playing soloing over chords or even in certain keys, if I'm playing over like that, George Benson, I'm going to see the G form, and then I might go down to the A form here. See the major scale there. I might work my way down to the C form here. All the while this chord progression's going on. Okay, so I use the CAGED method every day, and it's a great way to learn scale shape or chord shapes up and down the neck. So if you want to be able to play like D here. It's a great way to start to find all the chord shapes, so you don't play the same for every song. Every time you want a D chord, you're like, okay, that D. So nothing wrong with that D chord. You need to hold. Yes, Holly, and that's not a bad idea to angle your neck like about a 45-degree angle. So I've got one of these. These things are great. This one in particular is really good because it can go really high, which I really like. But footrest, I think I have. You can go if you look at the links below the video there. If you click the more info button, I've got a bunch of links to Sweetwater and to Amazon and stuff like that, where you can go and I get a little percentage of the sale. So if you buy something, if you want to buy something from Sweetwater, click one of those links. I'll make this. They give me money for that. It's cool. I don't know what percentage it is, but it can be as much as 8%, I think, which is cool. Amazon pays, the most they pay is 5%, and usually it's 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. It depends on what it is. But anytime, even if you go shoot, if all of you did your Amazon shopping through my links down below, the Amazon links down there, that would be. I think I make about $10 a month from Amazon. It's actually less than that now that I replaced a lot of the links with Sweetwater links, because I was trying to help out Sweetwater. Amazon makes a lot of money. Sweetwater does well though too. During the heat of COVID, Rolling Stone did an article on Sweetwater saying, and I read the article and I thought it said something about this. They sold 1,000 guitars a year, and I was like, dang, man, a little music store, that'd be like 3 guitars a day. You imagine a little music store selling 3 guitars a day? They'd be like, dude, we're stoked. We're making all this money. And no, I read the article wrong. It's 1,000 guitars a day they were selling during COVID, because everybody apparently was learning how to play guitar, which is great. I was doing Duolingo. I was working on my Spanish, so I'm not going to say any though right now. Sam, is that multiple slide guitar table behind? Yes, it's a 40s Fender triple neck 8-string lap steel. Isn't that insane? The size of this Roy Schmeck. I love that name, Roy Schmeck slide. Look at that thing, man. If I ever got in a fight, I'd want to have this in my hand. That's like perfect for that. I've never been in a fight. I mean, I've been hit, but I'm like one of those glass jaw guys. I'm like one hit and I'm down. So, but I've never, got beat up a lot. But I never really I wouldn't call any of them fights. I was a wee little thing in school. I was always the shortest in my class. I grew 6 inches after high school. I was 5'6" in high school, and I'm 6 feet now. So anyway, yeah. Hey, Ann, good to see you. Okay, so we got to finish the scale. We haven't done it all the way yet. So let's start at the beginning. Pinky, 5th fret. First finger, 2nd fret. 3rd finger, 4th fret. 5th fret. 2nd fret, 4th fret. We're going to go down a fret. 2nd finger, now pinky on the 4th fret. We're going to go back to 2nd position. First finger on the 2nd fret. 2nd finger on the 3rd fret. Pinky on the 5th fret. Then finish off with 3rd fret or 2nd fret. 4th fret. Okay, let's just do that last octave here. So we're going to start right here. The beauty of this is we can do it all in one position. First finger on the 2nd fret there, and then 4th fret, and then 2, 3, 5. I'm talking about frets 2, 3, 5, because you don't have a 5th finger. And then 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. And then backwards. God bless you. Good karma. Yeah, you can bookmark it. And so if you just go to any one of those Amazon links, if you click on the product and then you bookmark that, then that has, I should say something like Tom Strahle website. It doesn't have enough, it doesn't go to site. It just says, it may say that in there. I'm not sure. There's some code, but it's cool because I actually one month I got like $300 because somebody went and spent like $30,000 on Amazon buying a sound system for their church. I made like $300. I was like, wait, what? What happened? It was crazy, but pretty fun. But as a musician, in the arts, you got to try to monetize everything you can, right? You just gotta. because it allows you to keep doing it. So that $10 from Amazon or that $20 or $30 from Amazon is just allows me to stay in the game. Okay, helps me pay bills. Just like Lena give me $10. All of that allows me to stay in this game. And I'm 60 now. I just turned 60, and I don't plan on retiring. My clients call me still, as long as they. And most of my clients are much younger than me. I mean, like I work with a lot of 20-year-olds, and they love my playing. So if they're working in their 40s, I might be working in my 80s. So I love what I do, obviously, right? I hope I make that clear. There's challenging times. The nice thing is I'm not really having to pursue work as much as I had to. Like I'm not having to do as much promo. It's a lot of word of mouth now, which is great. Everybody's saying hello. Ian, good bro. We're talking about George Benson. Yes, that's right. Ukulele chords. John Free, are you thinking about that? Are you talking about George Benson? I think he started on ukulele. He was little Georgie Benson. He was like a little singer. Kind of like little Stevie Wonder. It's kind of the same thing. Boy, they might have been around the same time. It was probably kind of a little shtick thing. But Stevie Wonder, I remember like thinking he was 60 years old because he'd had hits for so long, right? Like Fingertips when he was 7 years old. How old was he when Fingertips came out? And it was like he was 40. I'm like, wait a minute. How's Stevie Wonder only 40? He's had like a 35-year career. But it's just crazy. Yeah, it's so sad about Charlie Watt passing away too. It's brutal because the classic rock thing, there more and more are gone, and it's like there's no new music that's like that. And of course it could be just nostalgia talking, but it's like the thing is, and I'm getting on a tangent here, but you've got these scales to practice, and to really what I want you to do when you're practicing these scales is to visualize that G shape there. Okay, you don't have to be able to play this chord. I've said that from the get-go because this is a really hard one. Okay, but I want you to visualize that no matter where you are, and I also want you to move this around. So if this is A, where's C? Well, A to B is a whole step, B to C is a half step. So here's that. So if I start the pinky there, now I'm playing the C major scale using the G form or the C major pentatonic. And the Gray Foxy guitar, yeah. My mom didn't go great. My dad went great early, so I'm kind of a hybrid. Yeah. So try to play these scales up and down the neck a little bit too. Okay. And if you're getting pretty good at them, go ahead and start working on some groupings. You can do groupings of 3, 4, and 5, 6 with the diatonic scale too. Ascending. Oops. You could do something like grouping 3 and then 4. You can make up your own groupings and work them up, and that just gives you dexterity. That gives you finger independence, and it hammers that. It really drills that scale in. My guitar teacher, Carl Verheyen, would say, you get it under your fingers. Okay? Get it under your fingers. And so, yeah, you want to get something to the point where it's under your fingers. You don't have to think about the mechanics of it anymore. You can think only about it as musically. Okay? Yes. Kelly, the CAGED shape that's displayed, that's all of these shapes right now are up there in the Discord group. I just dropped them in, and Kelly. Holly, here we go. not seen this. Holly will do a single PDF of that. But you can go and grab those screen caps and make your own PDF if you want, or print them up any way you want. You can organize them any way you want. So, and we got 2 more of these lessons to do. We're gonna do the E shape and the D shape and learn scales in those 2 forms. And I'm gonna keep them basically on the E. I'm probably gonna go we're gonna do G. So we're gonna take the E form up to G, and then for the D, we'll probably just go right up here to E. So the E form we're gonna go up 3 frets. The D form we're gonna go up 2 frets, and then we'll learn the pentatonic scales and the diatonic scales associated with those here. So I'm trying to go as low down the neck as possible, and then from there you can move it up and down the neck and practice in different keys. Okay. Okay, so I was going to talk about singing what you play. I don't really do it here for your benefit, but oftentimes I will, when I'm working on soloing or something, I will try to sing along with what I'm playing. But really the goal, so let's say I'm going to take this scale shape, like that, right? What I'm doing, I'm playing a scale. All right, let's do pentatonic. Okay. Okay, so I'm here. We're playing the notes on the 3rd and 2nd string of the major pentatonic shape right there. Starting on the root, 3rd finger there, 1st finger, and a pinky. Okay. And then what I want you to do is try to sing along with that. Now, it might be, this might happen. Right? You're imitating what you're hearing, okay? Then you might get to the point where you're like simultaneous, all right? Then, okay, so what we're doing when you're doing that, okay, this is an exercise. This is your hands doing the talking. But when you sing along with it, you're connecting your head to your hands, all right? I've always said that your brain is a freaking, especially when you're young, but your brain, regardless, is a sponge, garbage in, garbage out. Your brain is always recording, right? It almost has unlimited hard drive space. Always recording to the cloud. And have you ever heard a song and you go, I've heard that song before. It sounds familiar. And you may have only heard it once, and you may have been 12 years old when you heard it, but it still sounds familiar. So I really believe that there's millions of melodies in your head. So, you're echoing it. But now the goal is to get things from your head to your hand. Here, we're going hand to head. Here, we're simultaneous. But now I can go I can hear a melody in my head. I can hear a melody in my head and then play it. And that means that your melodic content in your hand is almost unlimited. See, if you're just doing exercises, and Lena, you're asking about exercises, if you're just doing exercises, you might do in your right hand only things that you've taught your right hand, or in your left hand, what you've taught your hand to do. But if you're thinking melodically, okay? I mean, I'm not George Benson. Who else is really good at that? Oscar Peterson would do it when he's playing piano. Keith Jarrett just makes noises. So with his song, you can hear him. It's funny. He, in fact, I think he was the first performer to perform at the Disney Hall in Los Angeles, and that hall was designed so well acoustically. It's freaking amazing that people in the audience, if they shuffle their feet, you can hear it on stage, and it would drove Keith Jarrett crazy. He hated it. So, all right. Hey, Joseph, what's going on? Hey, Udayan, good to see you. Your knees hurt. Good to see you. Let's see, what else is going on? Yes, thank you, Sam, for directing people to the place. Hey, Dennis, how you doing? I didn't say hi to you. How are things in the Netherlands? You're kind of northeast of Amsterdam, if I remember. You're kind of real close to the German border. I'm assuming you speak Dutch and German and English. How many languages do you speak, Dennis? I mean, that's just something, if every state in America spoke a different language, Americans would speak multiple languages. But just, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I go down south and I can't. I go to Boston, I'm like, what? Or not Boston, like you go up into Vermont and stuff, Maine. It's like, wait, what did you say? Or, even Canada can be kind of funny. There's a lot of Canadian kind of aboot this and aboot that in Michigan. And there's certain words that are different. Like in Michigan, they call pop instead of soda. And in Indiana, we called it soda. So it's like you literally cross a state line and you go, hey, what was the name of that soda? Do you remember that? If some of you Midwestern people, there was this, in the 70s, there was this soda that had they had a shtick, and their shtick was that their soda was the wrong color. So like strawberry was purple, and grape was orange, and orange was blue, and lemon lime was, it was, whatever. It was like, they all were the wrong color. And it was like, it was actually in some ways kind of an eye-opener, because it made you realize, oh wait, so grape soda really isn't naturally, what color, if they didn't put the purple dye in there, what color would grape soda be, I guess it would be clear, because it's just soda water and flavoring. Or it would be this weird kind of murky, cloudy thing, So, but did anybody remember that and what the name of that soda was? I can go to one of those Facebook groups where it's like, remember when? I could put that in there and somebody will come up with it. Oh, 3 fluently plus local dialect. Dang, that's so impressive, Dennis. No, I have. Oh, Steve Berry asked, have I ever played the George Benson Fender amp? No, he back in the day, he used a, I'd be curious about that. That might be kind of a cool amp to get. Is it being made now? What was the amp? The Polytone. Like everybody played Polytone back in the day. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Sweetwater has it. I bet it's super clean. I mean, it looks like a Fender Twin Reverb. Yeah, it is basically a Fender Twin Reverb, but it's his modded one, I guess. 85 watt. Dang, that's so freaking loud. 2x12. That's pretty. $2,000 is pretty much the standard price for a Twin Reverb. I'll have to check it out. Wonder what's different about it. Pine cabinet. Oh, oh, the addition of neodymium 12-inch speakers and a pine cabinet shaves 13 pounds off a traditional Twin. That is pretty amazing because Twins are. I used to, have to haul one around. What I ascertained from that is that George Benson's still hauling his gear around. It's like, dang it, jazz just doesn't pay. He still has to haul his amp from the amp car to the. It's like, how do we make this thing lighter? But yeah, Fender Twins are ridiculously. And they're really, really loud. I used to, because whenever I would tour or do fly dates, something like that, I would always request Fender Twin as a backline. And I could never get, I don't know why, I did it for too long, and I could never get a good sound out of it. And I think I couldn't get it past 1. I put it on 1 and it was too loud. So now I request Fender Deluxes. Fender Deluxes are a lot less power. I think they're either 35 watts or 20 watts, 18 watts maybe, and much more usable. And you can, Fender amps are pretty loud and they're open back, so they kind of project everywhere. So they're great amps if you're going to be on stage and you want to be able to hear wherever you're standing. Marshalls are really directional. So like if you get a Marshall and you're standing to the side of it, or it's not aimed at you, you won't hear it. Whoever it's aimed at will hear it, but you won't unless you're standing right in front of it. And if you're standing literally right in front of it, you won't hear it because it's going to be hitting your back. You got to be away from it and directly in front of it. So 3 backsurge. Oh yeah. No, I don't really lift. Shoot, I hardly do any of that anymore. I should probably go back to the gym and start lifting weights again. But, yeah. Let's see. I'm sorry. My knees hurt was asking about. Yeah, if you take any, major pentatonic scale and move it up 3 frets, you've created in the same key the minor pentatonic. So I can show you that with that pad again. So here's that A pad, and so the A major pentatonic, which is that bottom corner there, has a very A major sound. Very happy, very friendly, very, hey, let's get lunch together. Okay? If you move it up 3 frets, it's a minor, A minor pentatonic now. Okay? See, this was A major pentatonic, F sharp, minor pentatonic. Same shape, same notes, but just different roots. If I take that up, there's A minor. Same as C major. I know I'm confusing some of you. And what this one says, it's got that rub. See, the chord has a C sharp and we're playing a C natural. So we get this rub. That's kind of idiomatic for blues. If you sit on that note, it's really going to rub. But a lot of times, right? Stevie Ray Vaughan would do that like all the time. He would just touch that C natural, the flat third, B.B. King. He would go there and he's kind of pushing it up towards that C sharp to get that major sound. But he's playing the C natural over that. And so this one says, hey, let's get lunch together. This one says, are you looking at me? John D, you can use a capo and play in C major, but it'll be a different key. Yeah. Yeah, a capo moves everything. Yeah, and I don't know, like, affordable stuff, like, it sounds so elitist of me, but it's like, the cheap stuff I don't know too much about. I did get that Jim Dandy, really cheap acoustic guitar. I got it to get the cheap guitar sound for pop stuff and things like that. So I got it, and you know me, I love my cheap Squiers. But as far as amps go, I do so much stuff in the box in the computer that I don't really. I've got a 2-Rock sitting right there, which is not a cheap amp. But I never played it. It's sitting there. I mean, I played it, but not in my studio here. I've had it in here about a year now, and it's not even plugged in. But I put it in here. I forget why. I think I need a table to put something on or something. So, I really don't. I mean, I went through a phase where I was trying to collect as many amp heads as I could get because I thought, I was going to be that session guitar player that shows up with 10 amp heads and 7 cabinets and have a whole system that connects them all and everything like the top guys. And I never became that guy. Mainly because I'm not a tone guy so much. I am and I'm not. But I do a lot of work on TV shows, games, and movies. And so, and then I do pop stuff, and that's where I really am more, you know, when you're working on records, you're much more interested in the tone, and you take your time and get it right, right? You pick the right guitar for the job. You might change strings to get the right string sound. You might, you know, use a couple different mics. You might, and then you'll play it 100 times to get it till you get the feeling right. Things like that. TV, movie, games, things like that. You don't have time. It's like, what guitar do I have out? That's the one I'm playing. You just got to turn out as much music as much time as possible. So that's kind of the just had a composer text or email me. So that's kind of what kind of what's going on. Okay, gosh, I still haven't recorded Emma Louise yet. I've pretty much got it memorized. I think when I play on this guitar, I'm going to play on this guitar. That's about the best I've ever played it. I should have been recording. Dang it. But I can't make a mistake. That's the thing. I just got to know it. It's going to come in under 2 minutes. At that tempo, I'm thinking about slowing it down, but it's really hard because I'm finding that I'm always settling. If I start slower, I speed up. And I don't want to do it to click. Although, if I did it to click, that would make editing 2 performances much easier. If I have to, if I really get like one front end that's really good and a back end. So I'm not sure. I want to record that soon. But I was hoping to get it done last weekend, and of course I got busy. And then this week it might happen. And then once I've got it recorded, then I'll send it off to be mastered, and then I'll upload it so you guys can add it to your Spotify playlists or down by it if you want. I do have the one song, so if you go to Spotify and enter my name, you'll see the Gypsy Jazz piece I did that I was working on that you guys were part of. Yeah, you like it? It's a little. See, if it were a little slower, it wouldn't sound so flashy. It might be prettier. But there's something about that pacing. And the thing I did with this is it's standard tuning. And I already have tab for it. So I'll have the tab available. And I may figure out a way to sell that. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to do it on Etsy. But I wanted to create something that was kind of pretty but quirky because my daughter's kind of goofy. But she... But I wanted to create a lot of melodies, so if you like, it's like, it's like, it's a lot of pentatonic melodies, but I'm playing them further up the neck. It's standard tuning, which, the great thing about standard tuning is I can just pick up this guitar, any guitar at a guitar store and just start playing it, And for me, it's like, whenever I do write songs, and I have a couple, I have one in drop D that's like, sorry, Mark. Who is it? Oh yeah. Something like that. And so open tunings are almost easier to write fingerstyle pieces on. It's hard to write standard tuning fingerstyle pieces because unless you're playing like an E minor. So I chose something that was going to be a bit of a challenge to try to make it musical and to try to keep it in standard tuning. Because with open tunings, you can just kind of futz around and find things, and you just go, oh, this is cool, and you just kind of end up memorizing them. And that one is, I wrote this in an airport. And then and then I went to. Well, and Lena, the thing is, I'm really doing the Travis pattern there. So that particular song is just like, it's kind of the Blackbird singing it, right? And then I'm trying to create a melody on top. But the shape I'm using is just these two notes, and then I'm doing these two notes, a little D there and a little D there. So again, the CAGED method is playing, I'm thinking this D shape, and then I'm thinking this A shape, and then I'm thinking this E form. But I'm just doing two notes of it. I'm not visualizing the whole thing necessarily. I may be visualizing the whole thing, but I'm only playing two notes from it. So that's what's happening. So. And then this is the hard one. But the gist of the song, or that if you've got a right hand pattern now, you just keep it going, and then you start messing around with the left hand and come up with something. I could do something like. Nice, Steve. And now, do you go to his YouTube channel and promote my channel? I'm just kidding. I know you do, because how would I get new subscribers? I'm still getting them. Where am I at, Bruce? Where am I, subscriber-wise? Almost. I won't be 100,000 this year, I don't think, unless I get a sudden crazy spike in my viewership, which could happen. It happens randomly. I'm at 96,236, plus 700 or 673 in the last 28 days. So if you run the numbers there, we've got 4 months left. Not even 3 months. What day is today? Oh, we're not. Okay. So basically 4 months. Yeah, I don't. That's it's 700 a month, 4 months. That's not going to be. I need to go into next year. So I'll hit 100,000 sometime early next year, which will be amazing. Yeah, because my view counts on it's really one video that got me most of my subscribers and most of my revenue and views. So it's kind of like having one client. And if that client stops calling you, you're not going to have as many, you're not going to have as much work. So that's kind of what's happened. That one video is kind of pretty much everyone who's ever going to see it's seen it. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, and I love. So I do a part where I take this. It took me a minute to figure out. Right. So that melody. Da, 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 right. That's kind of the melody. Da, 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 da. It's kind of the melody. Right. And then I just, that's the over the one chord D. All droney D, okay? And I go to the 4 chord, because remember, G, can't play a G, that's F. G's here. But that was cool because then I could do this nice, I could get this really cool, pretty G major chord, but with a sharp 11 or sharp 4 in it. And I still have never figured out, this is one that I probably will record and release too. I've never really figured out what to do with this A thing. I'm like, I haven't really figured out how to get back to the, so I've kind of done it a million different ways. Something like that, it's fine. But then I go, you know, I got to change this, the first phrase. So instead of playing D, I went B minor to A to G, and I did that with C. That's a nice variation on that, right? So here's the original. Here's the variation. Oh yeah, we'll do. Oh, I can do another AMA. What else? I mean, I may turn. The last AMA we did was because I wasn't prepared for our lesson. So I was like, I'm sorry I didn't get any sleep last night, or I slept until 8:59 or whatever. You know what? I'm going to pull up Kathy. Not Kathy, Holly. Why can I not remember your name today? It's so weird. I keep calling you Kelly. I called you Kelly and Kathy. Kind of, anyway. This is a good thing to have sitting up here while I'm talking. Those are this is visualizing the fretboard using the starting on each of the shapes, the 5 shapes, so, and seeing how all 5 lay out. Are you going to do videos for all 24 scales, beginner, intermediate? Oh, well, they're more than 24 because Lena, I could do minor and I could do harmonic. I haven't done one in a while, so. I don't know. Maybe I could. Might be weird. I think the view count on C sharp major might be like pretty low unless nobody's done it. But yeah, it's C sharp major is going to be one of those ones where the beginner one is hard. So that might be. It would be interesting. I don't see C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, which is F, F sharp, G. Well, or it's D flat, but D flat, E flat, F. G flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat. There's no open strings in there. So I was going to kind of primarily do the open, any scale that has open strings. So, you know, C, A, G, E, D would make sense. All of those. F, you know, you got open strings in the F scale. So, I don't know. Let's see. Bruce. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks, Bruce. Yes, the dog and pony with Alex. Yes, I know. And Alex is totally up for it. So he's going to be here Thursday, but it would be better to do this in the morning, I think. But he's not here. He usually comes here for dinner on Thursday and to do laundry. I'll tell you, it is nice having a house, though. That was really Beth's favorite things. It's like, oh, my gosh. Because when we lived in the apartment building, we had to share
2 washers and 2 dryers with 30 other families. So that was yeah. So she's like, doing laundry is so easy. It's in the house, you know. I mean, it's just amazing. So, oh, I got your meaning. Okay, I'm glad. I did. I answered your question. Yeah, I mean, if I get more, if more requests now, Lena, if you pick up the Segovia method, here I can get you I'll get you the Amazon link for that. Okay, it's not expensive. Literally, it's public domain. No, it's not it's not public domain yet. Let me see. Where's my Amazon link? There's my Amazon link. So I actually have a button on my browser for the Amazon link that has so I can just go here and go Segovia Scales. Yeah, there it is. Segovia Scales. Now we see. You just need the most academic one. See, now that one's more expensive. This is the one I had in college. This one is probably the same thing. It's not. It's like, I don't know why they charge $10, but this one's $7. Let me just look inside real quick and see if it is what I'm hoping it is. Okay, this one has tabs, so this actually might not be a bad way to go. That's kind of I don't have a problem at all with you using this one. This one makes more sense than the one I had. When the one I got in college tab wasn't really a thing, or it was, but it wasn't like, there was no universal notation for tab. Oh, you already bought the book. Okay, never mind. Well, there it is for anybody who wants to learn Segovia Scales. Segovia Scales are, let me get my classical guitar out. Like I said, Andre Segovia was kind of the Paganini of the classical guitar. Paganini was the violinist who, he was a composer too, but he was really known for, I think he was the guy that really cemented the technique and the fingerings for the violin. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Paganini. But what Segovia did was he went, okay, I want to find every scale. I want to start on the lowest note of the scale. So C, this is the lowest C on the guitar, and this is the highest C on the guitar, right here. That's a B, so we don't have that. So he stops there. So he goes, okay, here's the technique. What's the best way to do it? Well, he didn't do 3 bursts. He didn't want to have the stretch. He wanted everything to be positional. So your hands will always be assigned a fret, like this. And then there will be a shift. And that's where the rubber meets the road. So everybody take a sip. It's one of the rules. If I change guitars, everybody takes a drink. Cheers. It's one of our drinking game rules. My guitar teacher would make me do it multiple different ways. With a metronome, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so that was that, and then triplet. 1, 2, and then 60th. And actually, the one that's the most helpful is the dotted 8th to 16th. That's the one that tricks your hand into going faster. So the speed you learn from that exercise can be applied to others. But then I would have to do it with other fingers. So that was index middle. Then I would have to do middle index. Same thing all over again. And then triplet. And then 16th. And then I'd have to do index ring finger. So you really turned one scale into multiple exercises, and you have 24 scales. So you could see how you could spend literally 2 hours every day just doing Segovia scales. The other trick too was like the staccato. That would also increase your speed, because what it is you're playing a note, and then I'm playing this first note with my index finger, but I'm muting it with my second finger, okay, my middle finger. And And what that does is the next note's going to be plucked by the middle finger. So what that does is it forces you to get that middle finger ready to go faster. And then your first finger, but actually the first finger should go to the next string. So that would be, I didn't get too far. I studied classical guitar for a couple of years. I was so busy working that I really couldn't keep my studies up. But then he goes, okay, next scale. So the way the Segovia Scales works, it does C major, and then it does its minor, relative minor. But it doesn't do A minor, it does A harmonic minor. And harmonic minor is A, B, C, D, E. So far, so good. And then it goes F sharp, G sharp. So it has a raised sixth. A minor is that. Okay? Yeah, P, A, M, I. Exactly. Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, P. Oh, well, yeah. P, P, M, A, M, I. Maybe? No, I would do A, I, M, A, M would be one that would be. When I got that down, it was actually kind of cool. I was like, oh, I can do it. Where you're doing three fingers in a circle. But A minor would be normally this, right? A harmonic minor is that, is ascending, you got an A, F sharp, and a G sharp. So it sounds like this. So it almost sounds like a major scale at the end. The only thing it sounds like minor is that C natural. And then descending, it is A minor. Okay? And so that was the scale that all the 12 minor scales at the Segovia method, or Segovia scales, are all harmonic minor scales. Sorry. Yeah. I'm not doing it right. So that's the fingering for the harmonic minor. The thing I didn't do right is at the end, there's a technique, you put your thumb on the side of the neck to get these notes, and you collapse your first finger like that, and that creates your kind of fulcrum that you build on for that final bit. But the A minor is the same as B flat minor and B minor. Those actually, that shape is the same as for 5 different scales. Maybe F sharp minor too. F minor? Gosh, maybe it's a bunch of them. Now that I think of it, it may be B, B flat, A flat. It may be the same. So that, because if it's the most efficient, if it's the most efficient way, which is what Andre was trying to do, find the most efficient way to play a scale. If it's the most efficient way for B, it's probably going to be the same. It's the lowest F to the highest F. It's going to be the exact same scale. So you don't have to. It's not like you're memorizing 24 different shapes. It's a lot of redundancy. Like I said, the C is the same as C sharp, D major, and E flat major, I think. E is different because you got the low E string. You actually start. I think E is the only one. It's the same going up and down. Oh, I can't remember now. It's so long since I've woodshedded those things. I used to, I used to use it as a warm up. Even still, it's still great, but not particularly good on steel string or electric. It's really good on. It just feels right on nylon. So, yeah. The melodic minor. Now the reason for that, for the melodic minor, is because of chords. Chord progressions like. Right? It has all the notes in the A minor scale here, but then when we go to the E major scale, we got to accommodate, and that's where we came with the G sharp. The F sharp, I'm not even sure so much why that's in there. The melodic minor, I'm not sure the justification for the melodic minor. Harmonic minor, I totally get, but melodic minor, not so much. So, yeah, and so that book. Oh, that's fine. It's fine, Lena. You don't need a link. You can go shopping if you click on that link and right there. That you click on that link, bookmark that page, and do your Amazon shopping through that. Then I get a little piece of everything you buy. If you buy a car at Amazon, I'm going to get 1% or something. So 2%, 3%, it's up to 5%. So I mean, I'm not even sure. I could look. I'll tell you. I'll be completely honest with you right now. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go. Earnings right here. There's a button here for those of us who have that Amazon affiliates is what it is. If you go to the bottom of the Amazon page, you can create affiliate. Yeah, I've only got like $5 in commissions right now. So in the last 30 days. Let's see if I click the last. Oh, I have to do custom range. I don't want to do that. So yeah, last 30 days, $5. So it's not life changing stuff. But it used to be a little bit more. But once I shifted over to Sweetwater, that's to like the picks and some of the guitar stuff and things like that, amps or whatever, pedals. I don't know. I've been using Sweetwater to promote them, and I haven't gotten any payouts from them yet. But I set my threshold at like $100, so I won't get any payouts until I hit $100. I hate for them to have to. Well, it's direct deposit, but I hate for anybody to cut a check until it's like a real check. I get checks for 1 penny from like it with paperwork, and I'm like, why didn't you just direct deposit? The stamp was like $1.50. Give me the $1.50, keep the penny, and just go direct deposit. That's my take on it. So we have 2 more lessons on CAGED method in this model here. Okay, learning these things, right? 2 more lessons. We're going to do the E shape and the D shape. And then what I might do is I'll show you, I'll start out with my favorite CAGED lick. One of my favorite, I'll teach you 2, and we'll do it in a couple different keys. It's kind of a fun lick to do, and then maybe I'll show you, a couple more, or like I did a series, didn't go very long on it because it wasn't very popular on my YouTube channel, where I did different shapes and my favorite licks in those shapes or whatever. So where if I'm visualizing the E form, here's a lick that I like to do over blues or whatever. If I'm in the A form, I visualize this lick a lot, And so I did some of those lessons. I talked about that in the past. I didn't really have one for today's lesson. I mean, this one is where that Count Basie lick came from, right? It's the G form that we talked about, but. And again, that's kind of a rhythmic thing. So, okay, Lena, is the 5 to 4 progression forbidden in classical music? No. What's forbidden is parallel fifths and octaves. So if you were going to go, you won't see a lot of 4 or 5 though. You're right. I'm sure Bach has. I mean, if you analyze hymns, especially if you go to hymnals. I used to have to do that a lot, and I would do figured bass. Don't worry about it. Oh gosh! Again, so much of theory exists to explain other people's genius. I guarantee theory didn't exist before Bach, and then all of a sudden people are like, how did he come up with that? Well, let's figure it out. Well, it's obvious now. Well, yeah, but he came up with it. It wasn't obvious then. So what Lena's talking about is, let's say we're in the key of C. And we're going to go like that. A lot of times in classical music, you'll have a 5 to 1 G C or 4 to 1. That's kind of the amen cadence, right? Right. It's a very, very positive ending, kind of a soft ending. Whereas a 5, like you'll hear some symphonies will be like. symphonies go boom, 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 boom. So you definitely have the 5-4 thing. The problem with 5-4 or 4-5 is that the temptation to go parallel on fifths and octaves is really strong, and it's really, really hard not to do. Okay, so again, you got to visualize right there. I'm playing 4 notes. I'm doing the E form like that. Okay, I'm not barring. I don't need a top 2 strings. And so imagine this is a basses, cellos, violas, and violins, or basses, tenors, altos, and sopranos. You don't want them moving in parallel motion like that. So how do you do it? Well, what you do in this case, like you might take this voice, you leave the same. The basses, you have to stay the same. That's okay. That's not, by itself, you can't have parallel motion with one note. But if I took these voicings, instead of playing these 3 for the F chord, I played these. So my voicings now were ba, 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 on top. That would be more classical. That would be more legal, as it were. So what's happening there is, you see, imagine if I were the bass in this harmonization, just going a whole step, everything moving up a whole step. Okay, well that's not unusual for a bass, but for a tenor to do da da, it's super easy da da da, right? And then here's the soprano, the altos, da, 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 da. And the sopranos. Da, 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 da. Right? We've got everybody's accounted for there, but they're all moving in parallel motion. And I think because rock music wouldn't exist if it weren't for parallel motion. That's all they do. So it's not like it doesn't work. It totally works. But I think it was probably mainly considered lazy, okay, by composers, classical composers of the time. So, and then the people that came along and analyzed everything, you know, they're kind of like music critics, right? You know, it's like they can't do, so they're going to write about those that do, and they oftentimes will tear people apart just because they're jealous. And that's kind of the same thing with, I feel like, with a lot of the music theory stuff. It's like, well, yeah, technically, okay, I see your point. It is lazy just to go have everybody just move together like that. But it sounds pretty cool. Gregorian chant did that. You know, Gregorian, you know, would do a lot of parallel movement. But that's probably another reason why it fell out of favor, because it sounded too old. So we want more interesting harmony. So check this out. So remember all those motions from F to G. I don't know. Does anybody even care about this? Yeah, I'm losing viewers. No, it's not bad though. Okay, you're with me, right? But remember, okay, all those motions, super easy, not very interesting. So if I take the F, the 3 notes on the F chord up one inversion, so now my voicing here goes. So my basses are still going, right? But now my tenors are going, da, da, and that's much more interesting. Da, 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 da. The harmony's going up, but you're singing down. You're going down, and that's interesting, right? Contrary motion. Basses are going up, and you're coming down. That's contrary motion. It's much more interesting than pure parallel motion. It's like if I were to just do a pure thirds all over the place. It gets a little boring after a while, and sometimes it'd be nice to hear a fourth in there or a fifth or something, right? That's more interesting than in some ways. So we have this. So we got the A note, which is who's singing that? The tenors. No, the altos. Da, da. Again, they're going high note to a low note, A, G, A, G. So they're going down, but yet the chord's up. So they're singing the third of the A, going down to the root of the G. Whereas the alto or the tenors were singing the root of the F and going down to the fifth of the G. Da, 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 da. And then same thing with the da, Actually, the sopranos have the best part. They're singing that you know, that amazing. The harmony is moving up. You're going 4 or 5, but everybody's moving downward except the bass. Okay, you see that? Sorry, let me make sure I don't. I'm going to close that. There we go. Okay. Now, but I mean, I do think the 4 or 5 exists in classical music. It's probably less common than 5-1, 4-1, 6-4, whatever. You know, but you'd have to just go through and analyze. You could analyze a lot of hymns, which were also often based in classical music. You'd have to go pretty far back and see how often the 4-5 or the 5-4 shows up. But you can analyze Bach and see too. I mean, I'm trying to think of. That's still G. C, G. No, G. Still G. E minor. G. C. G. D. No, that's G. I don't know what that would be. Maybe E minor, but not really, no. Maybe D. Kind of implies like a D7 maybe. So I get stuck in the middle. So that's C to basically A, or C to C diminished. Or no, yeah, A7. So yeah, nowhere does the 4 and the 5 go together, or the 4 and 5 and 4. No, that's 1. Still 1 chord technically. Then the 4 chord is the 4 chord. You could think that's 5 because it's got the 5th of the bass, but really, it's really sus 1. Yeah, so that's 5-1. You can hear how strong that is. That's still 1, 6, 5. And so maybe here, but I'll tell. Here's the thing though. Even when I'm doing like say I'm leading worship, and which I haven't done in a long time. But if I'm leading worship and I want to pray or talk, I might do what Paul Balash, my friend, would do. He would often do these things where he'd do like kind of a descending. Let me go with a capo at 3rd fret, and I'll play an F. You know, so just for change of pace. You'll be talking. You'll play like the root chord. You go to the 5 over 2nd inversion. And then he would go to like a minor, D minor. And he could go to the 4. But he wouldn't go to the 4. I mean the 5, sorry. Because the next chord is the 4. He would go to the 1, the 2nd inversion 1 chord. So it'd be like F, C over E. He's talking. Saying something. Talking about what he learned this week or whatever. And it's like, wow, that's cool. And then you go to move the capo funny. There we go. And there's the 4 chord, the F over A, which is the 1st inversion 1 chord. Then the 2 chord to the 5. And then, the cool thing is, you get to the point where you can talk over it. Here's a minor 6, right? And see, that just sounds too, I don't know. second version one sounds much more like uplifting, much more suspended. You know, we don't go to the, when I go to the C chord, I'm going to F over C. Then you go to the 4 chord, which is fine. D over F sharp. I'm sorry, not D over F sharp. D over F sharp shape, but F over A. To G minor, which is E minor shape. So let me do it in open position so that you guys can pronounce it. And I've done this where, you know, you want to share something, you want to talk about something, you want to underscore. It's called underscoring. And you get pretty good at it when you're talking and playing things. I've been doing it for so long I don't even have to think about it anymore. It's difficult. You know, it's not difficult for me anymore so much. Yeah, the 5 chord just doesn't feel quite right. Okay. So, but as I, you know, think of, you know, classical pieces, I don't know, it's E minor. Now, in the Spanish thing, you will have this. How is it? Yeah, it's like. No. Got the wrong guitar. See, we have parallel 5 and flat 6, which is interesting. I don't know. That's a minor key, so that's a little bit different. But yeah, that's an interesting observation. And Leon, you know probably a lot more because of your piano. You know a lot more classical pieces, particularly ones that are like for Elise and, you know, classic. Für Elise, like Beethoven. You know, like just what's your, if you play classical piano, what's your observation on that? Are you saying that classical music avoids the 4/5 and the 5/4 movement based on noticing all the Bach and Beethoven stuff? I don't know. Steve Barry, what am I ignoring? Oh, oh, you guys are shopping. Oh, Sam is your personal shopper, Steve. He's finding a cabinet at San Mateo for you. I'm assuming you're in San Mateo. That's funny. Sam's busy over here. He's like trying to help people. It's like, hey, let me find you this. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's 11:10. Holy cow. Time flies when I'm talking about myself. Yeah, all right. I get so many people coming. You only talk to your friends or something like that. I'm like, well, then join in. I think there was a lesson in there somewhere, right? You guys learned something. You're talking. Well, now you can, because I'm going to sign off. You won't have this forum. You'll have to go. That'll be a forum for him. So you get 3%. What? You get 3% of shopping at Guitar Center. Oh, you have a Guitar Center affiliate thing? I never noticed that. Does a Guitar Center have an affiliate window? Sweetwater didn't for years, and I talked to him. I said, you guys need to do this, you know, because all of us quote-unquote influencers can make you guys some money. Guitar Center, it would be at the bottom of the page, most likely. Orders to new business accounts, maybe business, no, not business accounts. Yeah, affiliate program, yeah, I have an affiliate program. I did not know that. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of prefer Sweetwater, to be honest. I got to check out that that George Benson amp. I'll do that after this. Well, Steve, set it up. I had a bunch of affiliate. There was a website, commission junkie, something, I don't know, something like that. So I had a lot of things, like I could get commissions from a lot, but for some reason it wasn't very effective. So, and they get a piece of my piece, so it was kind of like, never mind. Oh, speaking of, I need to do that, Steve. I need to unload the dishwasher. Okay, I'm going to sign off. Next week, maybe this week, Alex and I'll show up or something like that. I can do an AMA too. I kind of do those anyway, but we can do that and promote that. And that would be a separate thing. I need to do one on Reddit. I was going to set up an AMA on Reddit, and so that would be, I forget, so somebody was going to do that for me, because my YouTube channel went from like 800 subscribers to like 2,500 in one day. It was because somebody promoted me on Reddit and said, why isn't Tom getting more reviews? He's a great teacher. So now I'm almost up to 100,000, which is amazing. So can't wait to get to 100. No on the recall. Oh, well, yeah, we're not going to talk politics here. So anyway, okay. So I will talk to you later, and I will see you at the latest next Monday, maybe before then. Okay? Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.